Welcome, retro friends, to Retro Commodore Space Magic. This is Dragonhawk for the Commodore 64. It's sort of a clone or inspired by Joust, if you want to call it that. We hit F1 to start the game. You press left or right to control the direction you're facing, and then mash the button repeatedly to flap your wings. And just like Joust, the goal is basically to land on top of the other birds and creatures. When you do that, they drop a feather, and you try to pick up the feather if you can. If you can pick up the feather, they collect at the top of the screen. You can see our feather meter, if you want to call it that. And those basically serve as your lives in the game. I think right now we're pretty much maxed out on the number of feathers we can have. But there we go for that level, and every level has a different mix of creatures on it. And each mix of creatures has... Oh, look at that. Whoop. Each mix of creatures has a different play style, a different flight pattern. And you have to just try to figure out what it is and overcome them. You can tell with these red bird things, they're much more aggressive. So what we need to try to do is sort of get out of the fray more quickly and get up above and dodge. See, unlike Joust, there are no platforms to deal with, which means you also can't use platforms to try to evade the various thingies. Come on, nope. Gotta get more feathers. We're getting low on feathery feather bits, and you have to avoid environmental obstacles. That was stupid! Hello, environmental obstacles, how are you? Oh boy. Big dragons. Bigger dragons, anyhow. If you want to get anywhere in the game, you really can't be shy about mashing on the button. So that's a basic little look at Dragonhawk. Let's go again. And see how far we can get this time. I can't believe we just got took out right at the beginning. This initial bird thing, it starts off going left to right a little bit, but then it tends to settle down in just these up and down patterns that you're seeing. So obviously, these initial birds aren't too difficult. But then the game, the difficulty of the game ramps up fairly quickly. Because at the start, these sort of, I don't even know what they are, sort of dragon things, get very aggressive. And then, of course, the red birds that come on the next stage are just nuts aggressive. They are aggressive as aggressive nuts that are aggressive. And you can also see at the top of the screen on the upper left-hand corner is your current score, and the upper right... No, that was stupid. The upper right-hand corner is the high score. So you want to try to beat your high score. Now, when you're flapping around and you hit the top of the screen, you do bounce off. So you need to take that into account when determining your flight pattern. But you really need to try to get up above everything as quick as you can. And the screen, as you can see, it just wraps from one side to the next. So it's not like you can fly away from the group. You can do some maneuvering, but the screen just wraps around to the other side. So you can't do too much maneuvering. Come on, feather thingy. Hooray! Once more. Once more for Dragonhawk. And then I think that is plenty. It is a challenging game. Now there is something simple and satisfying about it, which I guess it's the same as when you play Joust, you know, the same sort of idea. But it gets very challenging very quickly. I would say that this game gets more challenging more quickly than Joust does. Whoa! Okay, so everything starts off super nuts at the beginning of the level, and then it sort of settles down into whatever, get out of here, whatever pattern it has. Another difference between this and Joust is if you're on the ground, you can't run left or right like you can in Joust. You can only fly, and that's it. So you can very easily get stuck on the ground when trying to maneuver around things. Up we go. All right, we're doing pretty good this time. Oh, if we can just dodge and get above. I do have to say it's fairly impressive when you think about how simple these various computer platforms were at this time. These 8-bit computer platforms. I think it's fairly impressive that they were able to program convincing physics models into games on a platform this simple. Okay, big crazy dragons. But at least we have plenty of little birdie lives left. And if you take out a few birds or whatever it is you're going against, and then you have to respawn, at least the ones you've already taken out don't spawn back. They stay gone, so that gives you more of a chance to take things out. Now these are like crazy, super crazy bat things. At least I think they're supposed to be bat things. And sometimes you can't even really maneuver at all. You just kind of stand there and bounce off everything. And sometimes you just get the bounce right. But there's those bat things. What's next? Bugs? I think these are supposed to be giant bugs. And, you know, in case there's any question, giant bugs are not lovely. You know, just to be clear about that. Okay, super mash the button, which did no good because they just jump right up. Okay, let's try dropping down beneath them first. Okay, that seemed to work pretty well. Like a decent strategy for this. Well, not there, but a decent strategy for the level. Drop down to dodge. I kind of think that the lightning bolts start showing up after you've been on the level for a while, kind of as a way to encourage you to complete the level more quickly. Anyhow, there's Dragonhawk for the Commodore 64, a Joust clone or an inspired by Joust game. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. They're wonderful things to do if you want to see more retro Commodore stuff. And tune in again next time for more retro fun.